Welcome back. It's day 2 of this serialized session with architect Otuekong Ezekiel Aniakanabasi Nyak Etok. He is a CEO of Novon Consult Limited. He is noted, it's on record that he was at the forefront for overseeing the construction of the prestigious Shelter Afrique housing estate here in New York. As we speak, my guest has been the chairman of this committee, is vice chairman of that committee at the center, but at the moment is alternate chairman of the ministerial committee for the implementation of the federal government 10,000 affordable homes project. My pleasure to be joined by architect Nyak Etok for the second, and I'd like to thank you for your time.
Thank you,
yes.
And I want to thank you so much.
All right, so your appointment as the alternate chairman of the federal government's new housing policy, the 10,000 affordable homes project, it didn't come to some of us like a surprise. It's only, okay, let's say it was maybe for those who thought with the advent of the new administration here, Nyak Etok was finished. Maybe those who thought he only had a wonderful relationship with Ama Pepo, she may not be able to transit, into the next government. For such people, it must have been a pleasant surprise. But for those of you who know your capacity, we only saw it coming, and it was only good it came when it did. I'd like to congratulate you on that again. Did it surprise you when it came?
Thank you. I think the credit should go to the Honorable Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Mrs. Akon Eyak.
That's right.
The reason is that it is easier a lot of times for outsiders to acknowledge you. When an insider comes and acknowledges you, for me, it's more about that insider. So the lady had every reason to say, there are many people in Nigeria, and it's true. If I tell you I'm the only one, I'll be lying to you. There are even some people that I listen to and I'm like, wow, okay. Somebody made a joke and said that Ebola has made HIV to look like Qatar. There are some people you listen to and you're like, this is good. So for her to have come and said, I have a brother in you, why should I go outside when what I need is here? I think it speaks of her maturity.
That's right.
And I want to use this opportunity to let her know that I sincerely appreciate the honor. Did it come to me as a surprise? Yes, within the context that somebody back home will be willing to work with you. It's a pleasant thing. And I think the whole of Akwa Ibom people should applaud her and also celebrate her and also acknowledge this so that it will encourage other people to know that. Because somebody will say, Minister, I am a minister of a computer, whatever, and there's that boy that is very good. Why can't he also do what the other lady also did? So she's created a point of reference that should make our people to see whether there are our people that are good enough to work with.
That's right.
And so within that context, I think that I should give more of the credit to her.
All right. So what is the mandate of that committee?
Now, from Monday, the portal www.housingfinance.gov.ng www.housingfinance.gov.ng. I want every Akwa Ibom son and daughter to go on that platform and apply for a mortgage facility. It's not a free facility. It's a facility that you have to pay. And your paying has to do with what you earn and what you can repay. I want as many people as possible to go on that platform. Now, that said, coming back, since independence, Nigeria has had less than 25,000 mortgages. 25,000. It is on record that no Akwa Ibom person since independence has benefited from a federal government mortgage facility. It's on record.
Sad.
That came to me from the MD of Aqua Savings. So it's an authentic record. But today, there's a possibility of 500 coming at the same time. 500 from zero over the past 50 years. 500. Now, they are not going to build these 500 housing units when we don't have enough people to take. If Akwa Ibom people, the applicants come to about 300, you give us 300. If Anambra, on the other hand, have 2,000, they build 2 mortgages. It's not just one of these government, projects. The second thing is that this is a private company, NMRC, Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company, is a private company having the muscle of government. As a result, there's no largesse, there's no free, stuff, there's no rights, there's no claiming it if you can afford. The only thing is that we have put some things together to make it a lot more reasonable because government is involved. First, we have said that it must be first-time home owners because there's no need a man that has gotten so many houses, you now go and give him some more.
How do you ascertain that?
You go through the forms.
Okay.
Second is that it must be owner-occupier. What that means is that you are not going to collect it to lease out. It must be those who have need. They are going to live in it. The third is that the maximum cost is 20 million. We know the cost, the house that will go for 20 million. So permanent secretaries are definitely not going to be, people who are going to live in those houses and all these big other people. Do you understand? Because we know what a 20 million house looks like. It's not as fanciful as people would want it to be. But we are targeting the affordable market. We're not targeting the top end. We're looking at the middle down. Okay? So when you put these things together, the beautiful thing is that nobody's going to mark you. You are going to mark yourself. Because there are stages. What is your name? What is your age? Where do you work? Stage 1. They'll mark you. Stage 2. You can say anything you want. Stage 2, you answer certain questions like, what type of building type do you want? If you say you want this building type, you click the cost. That cost will go back and do analysis of what you say you would earn. Okay, and it will tell you it's not possible. So either you close that place and walk off, or you choose the second one that matches your salary. But if you think you can lie about your salary, it's very variable, especially if you are a civil servant. Even when you are not a civil servant, you are working somewhere else. Somewhere along the line, you are going to be asked to submit your bank account, which has what they call a 250-bit encoding. There's a certain security which makes it foolproof. Nobody can access it. It's like the UN thing. It's a federal government thing, so they've given it the highest level of security capacity. It's not just because you said something they will take it. They will verify every single thing. Now, when what you have chosen and what you can pay agree, they will say proceed. You now go till when you get to the end and they say submit. You see the submit, you know yourself that you qualify. You know yourself. There are 2 things I insisted on. Number 1 is it has to be transparent and accountable. It has to be. It has to be transparent. It has to be accountable. I'm sick and tired of people blaming Mr. President, blaming the governor, whereas the little responsibility they have been given, they do not handle it well. So far, I can say it with every sense of responsibility. Mr. President has not sent one note. The governor has not sent one note. Nobody has said, hey, no. They're like, do it right. Do it properly. Go ahead and make it work. Consider the larger interest. This is the biggest contribution I'm going to make to Mr. President. If Nigerians can say, this is nice, that would have been one of the biggest contributions I can make to his re-election.
That's right.
And we need to come to a point of holding people responsible for the things that they do. And not because if this housing project, I went online and I had a post that had over 230,000 views. And in that post, I say, if this thing fails, I should be held responsible and accountable. Because Mr. President has trusted me and said, put in a that will benefit the average Nigerian. That's all he needs. Matching order. It's for me to go and do the right thing. Okay? And so far, I'm so happy that everything is being done. It's not the one that you do the houses and then you share it and keep it to yourself and give it to your cronies, whoever you want. Nobody knows how the houses are being shared or not being shared. If we just hear 10,000. Now, even the opposition is a Nigerian. Is going to gain. How does that affect us in Akwa Ibom? Two things. First is that everybody is subjected to the same template. The second is that your government can add a sweetener, can make it easier for you. The government can do so many things with the scheme. So I believe that our governor won't carry last in this matter.
All right, but that will actually call for some level of stronger collaboration between your committee and the various state governors. But quite a number full of questions arising from that your long answer. Now, let me start with the first. I'm a little worried. I recall when you did a superlative analysis on, I think it was AIT something way back 2013. And among others, what I got from your analysis was that it's difficult for a typical civil servant in Nigeria who is not cunning, who is not fraudulent, to be able to afford a house. And when you look at the window, when you look at the range of the cost range of these proposed facilities, between 2 million and 20 million. Fine, you've said only 20% of whatever house type you choose, but key that to that your analysis. The 20 million, the extreme pool, let's look at that now. Is that feasible for a typical civil servant?
Two things. Number one is that instead of a standard mortgage that is one person, we've decided now to introduce a new dynamics. Husband and wife can join their resources.
Okay.
And then you kind of double whatever you could earn. Third, we've also looked at certain other indices. For instance, somebody says my salary repayment cannot take 10 million house. It can only take 5 million house. Over the years, I've done savings of 5 million. So I need that 10 million house. This is my first installment. I pay up the 5 million immediately. That we are looking at every possibility of making it affordable and available. There's a major challenge, and we are also almost blackmailing governments to give every level of subsidy. For instance, for the Niger Delta State, the NDDC has come in to say we're going to give infrastructure. So we now can approach the government of Akwa Ibom State and say, the money you wanted to give for infrastructure, since NDDC has come in to give infrastructure takes up about 25% of this. Can you then use that money to underwrite the deposit that should be made so that these people do this? We are looking at every possibility of bringing down cost and making it more affordable. But I want to say this: a lot of times when you take on a project like this, rather than the people fall behind you and give you that push, they sit back and watch and criticize. And say, no, I don't need a house. I'm very comfortable by the grace of God. I don't need a house. I can afford a house for myself. I can afford houses for my children by the grace of God. I have only 3. That's the advantage. I didn't have 20. Okay? But I have staff. I have friends. I have people in my church. I have people in my school. I have people in my community. I have a lot of people that need these things. So let the people rally round and make it work. How do you rally round? There are a lot of journalists. Look at what you're doing. A lot of journalists. Write about it. Encourage government. Don't be unduly critical. Thank them for what they've done. The singers should sing about it. The street talkers should talk about it. Let everybody say, this would be nice. And let me tell you something. Meet your assemblyman. Tell them, let Akwa Ibom be part of this. Let us benefit from this. By the time that you are talking, this one comes, this other one. Do you understand? You know, the assemblyman will just, even when they are talking with the governor, and the governor says, this housing thing that the other man say, Your Excellency, my community, about everybody is talking about it. Your Excellency, they say if you do this one, carry go, anything you want. Do you get the point? The man is encouraged.
All right. So now let's look at the cultural angle to this. You hinted in the course of answering one of my questions that from independence, no single Akwa Ibom person has benefited from a federal government mortgage facility.
Yes.
That's a sad commentary. It's an alarming statistics. Now you come back home, you have the experience. You tried the National Social Housing Scheme, and you saw how it was. Besides the challenges you had, maybe from the side of funding and all of that, it was the cultural angle to it. A typical Akwa Ibom person, for instance, is interested in struggling to go to one interior place that has the potentiality of catching up with development and negotiating for a little land for 300,000 naira and molding blocks. My minister told me about a 12 block man story. A man who worked somewhere and told himself, I'm going to get a house in 20 years, and every month he was so disciplined that every month, no matter what happens, he molded 12 blocks. Before you know it, the man had a house. So that's the mentality of an Akwa Ibom person. I don't know what happens in other states. They want to be the ones to buy the land, to struggle, to buy cement, to mold the blocks, to build it, the way they want. How are you going to overcome that?
They're not doing that because they want to do it. It's because they are compelled. They've seen the voice of reason. This man tried it, nothing happened. The other man tried it didn't work. This one tried it didn't work. So why do I want to waste my time? The best thing is for me to go the way that has been working. But if I come now and tell you go online, when you have submitted, I can even go ahead and give you my own personal email and say, when you have submitted, print out the form, send a copy of that form to me. The only difference is where you put your bank account, delete it if you like to tear it. You understand me? All I need is that you have successfully, because that's the only security document. The only thing that is a confidential document is probably your bank account detail if it reflects in the form. So when you print that form, I can give you my email, you have my office. Drop it for me. I am willing to personally follow up those details from Akwa Ibom State. I'm inside. I understand what's going on, but I also come from here. And if I can help my people so that the first set of people that have these houses are from my own people, I think I'll be very, very happy with that. Right. And my place is not difficult to know in Shelter Africa. Just print that form, drop it in my office for me. And it will come to me immediately, because as soon as you are dropping it, they are scanning it and sending it to me wherever I travel a lot. If you are looking for me, you don't need to look for me. You don't need to look for me. You don't need to. Just send the document and wait. Let's see what the next thing will say.
Right, and then the timeline.
The timeline, I think it's going to run for about a month.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Registration will be open
registration,
for a month.
I think it will be open for a month.
Okay. It has already started. It's already commenced.
Coming on Monday.
Oh, from Monday.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it has already commenced.
Okay.
It commenced on Monday.
Okay.
Yes. It commenced on Monday.
Okay. When I talk about timeline, let's also extend it to the delivery period. Okay. So
now I'll tell you how it runs. For a while now, we've been collating lands from governments. Different state governments giving us land. The second thing we've been doing so far was to roll out the pre-qualification beneficiaries platform that has come on live. The third thing we are doing is to collect the results, which means in Akwa Ibom State, for 1 bedroom they need this number, 2 bedrooms this number, 3 bedrooms this number. While that is going on, we are pre-qualifying the people that are going to be doing the construction.
Okay.
By the time at the end of the month of August, we will have an idea of the spread, within the state. We use that spread. Within the period, we also build a database of the people who are going to be doing the construction. So we are looking at groundbreaking between end of August and the month of September.
Okay. Because
we are doing this systems construction method, we are giving ourselves something in the neighborhood of about 6 months.
Okay.
For the construction, but you see, you always have the preliminary period of mobilizing to site. So we are looking at not later than first quarter, second quarter of next year for these things to be done. As a matter of fact, from December we want to start having the president, commission some of these things, and actually give out keys to the houses of the beneficiaries. That would be a very good political strategy.
It will be.
And if that is my contribution,
really help,
I think Mr. President will be very happy.
It will really help the 2015 project. Now, let's look at the issue of who is qualified. When you mention certain things that are expected of somebody in the course of filling the form, I had to sit back and say, hey, what if I want to apply? I'm not a civil servant. I'm doing my own business. Am I sure that this is not the strictest censor about civil servants, but are we sure that this is not going to favor those who survive on monthly pay, verifiable monthly pay, at the expense of those who are street boys like us?
No. Two things. The very first thing is that's why they ask you for your bank account.
Okay.
If you have been putting your money under your pillow, I think you'll have a hard time.
That's right.
Because how do you convince? You see, somebody who lends you money wants to be convinced that, one, you have source of repaying his money.
That's right.
And two, that you qualify to be given this money. This money is taxpayers' money that they are using to give you. Do you pay your tax? So mandatory is going to be your tax receipt.
Okay.
Mandatory going to be your tax receipt. Then we now have your convincing me that you have the capacity to repay.
Okay.
Those are the two basic things.
All right.
So you don't have to be in government.
Okay.
You don't have to own salary. All you need to do is tell us that I have regular income and capacity to repay.
Okay. Now, barring some of the interventions you talked about, barring, for instance, the state government coming in to say, okay, I support what the committee, the mandate of the committee by donating land. Barring the possibility of NDDC or other interventionist agencies coming to say, okay, I support your effort by giving infrastructure. Now, what's your plan for land? What's your plan for infrastructure? Barring some of those anticipated.
We've already gone, that's a very good question. We've already gone much beyond that. Number one, we're working with state governments. If they don't come up, we're working with REDA, Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria.
Okay.
And if that doesn't work out, because basically it is either government or private.
That's right.
Government is government. Private is either REDA or any other institution. Those are the ones we are working with for now.
Okay.
We are not going into the process of acquiring land somewhere and putting infrastructure. No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
So for now, the program runs on the fact that we are having this coming from government or we are having this coming from individuals, and know that the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, they also have their own land bank, their pool of land. So they are using that as well.
Okay.
We also have several agencies. The Federal Mortgage Bank does have its pool as well. Federal Housing Authority, they also have their pool. Then a lot of these other, the police housing schemes, the Nigerian Army housing schemes, so many, there's a whole lot. I can tell you that because as the alternate chairman, actually the minister is the chairman. And instead of making me vice chairman, she made me the alternate chairman.
Okay.
And as the alternate chairman, I can tell you that I have access to virtually all these things, and I can tell you that we are good to go.
Okay. It's been wonderful to have had architect Otuekong Anyekanabasi Nyak Etok in the house. Do I need further? Does he need further introduction? If you ask me, no. He's been here. He's been doing housing things for us with bias to social housing. He craves for housing for the poor, and that's what he lives for. When we come back from this break, it would have been Uhuru as far as today's edition is concerned, but I can urge you to join us the following day as we continue with this. So this break separates us from the next moment you see architect Nyak Etok's first. Please join us when we return.
You're watching the Bridge TV show on air and online.